back. This is update 0.42. Some interesting changes for you and updates. I think first off is I've changed the keyboard input a little bit to be more intuitive. Before your flying mode, basically page up, page down, and the up arrow, down arrow to fly is a little bit unintuitive to a first-person game. So somebody gave me a comment that, hey, why don't you make it very similar to what typical first-person games do, where you hit space to go up and you hit control to go down. So now if you go to fly mode, you hit space to go up, you can navigate around and hit control to come down and space to go up. It's more intuitive instead of moving your hands over to the other side of the keyboard to access the up and down arrows. So that's one change. Second thing is I've also changed the rotation for an object. For instance, if you want to cant the object this way, I basically change it to Z and X instead of Z and C. And the reason is I want to do crouch and prone to be C for crouch and V for prone. Alright, so I've changed those commands to make it more intuitive and more FPS-like. Next thing is I got a request from Marcel about IDPA targets. So I did that now. So if you go over to 9 miscellaneous and you go over to the next page, you see now we have IDPA targets. I don't have a lot of the IDPA targets here. I have the full, I have the short, I have the Noshoots, if you like that, right? Or you can even have the Noshoots that you can attach to a target if you want, something like that, right? So you can do that. The hard covers, you can use the IPSC ones. They're a little bit big, unfortunately, but let me know if you want to see dedicated IDPA hard covers and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. The other cool enhancement is multi-select, where you can only select one object in the past, right? You can select one object, move it around, and some folks are saying, why can't I just select multiple objects and then move them around? Like if I have to change move all of this to the right a little bit, I have to move one by one, right? I have to go do this and do that and do it one by one, which is a little bit time consuming. So now you have the ability to multi-select, and you do that with the shift button. So if you hold down the shift and you select the first object, and this will be your parent object, everything else will be paired to this parent object. So shift click, and now if you move over to the second, you can see the highlight is still there. That means you've selected it. Now if I go over to the second one, I shift click, shift click, shift click, shift click. Now you have all 5 of these objects selected. I go with my parent, everything turns blue. Now if I move my parent, I move everything else. I can even rotate all of it like that. So you can reposition your stages anywhere you want on the bay, much easier. And to unselect, you just shift click on the floor and then you basically unselect it. So now it's basically individuals. It also works with groups. So if I go over to grouping mode, and let's say I want this is grouped with this, right? So this is a group. And if I go back to editing mode, so this is a group. So if I go do a shift, click, 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 and click, now if I move everything, it moves the group as well, which is pretty cool, right? So there you go, multi-select, which is very interesting. The last enhancement is, I think the most exciting one, is I managed to take my iPhone 13 Pro that I just got recently, take it to the range to scan the base, because the phone has a LIDAR sensor. And so I went there and scanned it, about 3 different bays, Bay 3, Bay 4, and Bay 8 at the Paul Bunyan Rifle Club, where I shoot a lot. And I tried to put them in game. So now I made it available. It's still prototype because I'm still trying to figure out how is the best way to allow this to happen so that you all can enjoy it. At the same time, how do we share a base? Like for instance, if I were to create a stage with a LIDAR scan bay, and then if I send it to somebody else, I can't send the bay today. It's large, it's huge. The bays after scans, after you scan in and process, they're pretty large. So I'm still thinking how to do that. So here we go. So if you go over to the change bay, now on the right hand side you see an option to enable scan bay. Now please bear in mind, a LIDAR scan bay has a lot of triangles. It might slow your computer down depending on what kind of processor you have. But yeah, if for those of you who are interested, you can just enable this, and now we have the scan bays will pop up. You can choose between which of the, right now there are only 3 bays because I have managed to only scan 3. Bay 3, Bay 4, and Bay 8. So let's go to Bay 3, right, and click apply. So now you see, well, this is on the ground. Let me just bring them back up here because they're on a different height. So here we go. Yeah, so this is how a LIDAR scan bay looks like. basically went around scanning the floor, scanning the walls. It's really pretty cool textures here, right? Makes it look more realistic. So now, and then, you know, certain objects don't really render well, but you know, what can we do? But the base itself looked pretty good. And so now we can, for us who are designing stages for local matches, we can design as accurate as possible that will fit into this bay. So now we can design stages that accurately map to the bays of our local clubs, and then when we go and construct the bays, they're very accurate, right? And so you can even look at, let's say, let's go to bay 4. This one has even cool markings on the ground. This is from, I believe, one of the carts that we drag in to pick up the steel, so you can see all the leftovers here. It's not perfect, as you can see. There's some parts here, there's a lot of stretching and some weird looking geometry here, but unfortunately that is the nature of the LIDAR scanner, because this spot here has a lot of vegetation and you can't really penetrate underneath it to see what's underneath, so you can see some weird looking artifacts. Barrels that didn't scan properly, so it doesn't look very accurate. And this is a fence that's laying on the ground, which is not super accurate either, but hey, you know, I think this is pretty cool. And then we also scan bay 8, which is a much larger bay. As you can see, you can go all the way back here, and then you can even construct your stages all the way to the front. I haven't scanned any of the bigger ones yet. I will do that soon. I will go out and do some scanning next week on Saturday to scan another club space. Hopefully we have 7 bays there. And you know, my intention is to be able to, you know, share this with everybody. And not only that, I want to be able to empower you to be able to scan your own bays and then bring them into Practisim Designer as well, so that you can benefit from having more accurate representations of your bay. Yeah, so that's cool feature for 0.42. Again, please give me feedback. Go over to here, go over to the feedback tool, or you can join the Discord channel. I'll provide them in the YouTube link here, so you can join that and give real-time feedback. Apart from that, that's all for update 0.42. I will see you at the range.